What if I told you that everything you think you know about disease is basically wrong? That the pills we take every day for the conditions we have are little more than a painkiller, which does nothing about the underlying condition. Sure, you may feel a little better for a while, but those drugs you are taking are doing nothing to control the actual disease process. So you feel better for a while, but the disease is still progressing, and after some time, the pills are no longer effective. The discomfort is back. The disease is worse. Now, what if I told you that you have the ability within yourself to heal, that the drugs you are now taking are not a permanent solution, and the drugs, if you are using them, should only be used as a temporary measure to relieve suffering and to calm and prepare your mind to get you into that healing state? Okay, I know what you're thinking. This guy sounds a little nuts. How can I control my health? We've been told since birth that if we get sick, only a doctor can cure us. Well, that's just not the case. We have all been told that only drugs and modern medicine can cure disease. Only if you follow what your doctor prescribes to the letter have you any chance for recovery. We have had fear and helplessness drilled into us since the beginning. This fear and helplessness, by the way, actually contributes to disease. But I'm here to tell you that it's you that has the total control when it comes to healing. Doctors, be them Western or Eastern, drugs or herbs, are really nothing more than facilitators to your healing process. You are the one that is in total control. So how do I know this? Have I taken advanced courses in alternative medicine? Traveled to the far corners of the earth seeking the elusive answers? Nope, I'm just your average middle-class chronic disease sufferer. For me, it all started in 1995. I was diagnosed with relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis. It wasn't too bad at first. I was actually able to continue working, but that didn't last for too long. Even with the drugs, the disease continued its progressive march. My balance suffered. I started having trouble walking. I started to experience extreme pain in my left thigh and arm. It became too difficult for me to continue working, and finally, I had to stop. Now, being forced to stop working because of a disability is one of the worst situations a person can be faced with. It's like having your entire identity ripped from you. The person you were, a successful wage earner, a person with responsibility and a certain amount of stature, is gone. What you are left with is this helpless soul left sitting at home to basically watch television and play on the internet, while the rest of the world passes you by. This was my life for nearly 11 years, basically sitting helplessly while I watched my body slowly degrade. Western medicine pretty much helpless to stop or even really slow the progression. So there I sat, contemplating my future. I read up on MS, most likely read too much as a matter of fact, because this is when the depression started. Now, I never really got to the point of ever thinking about an ending strategy, if you know what I mean. But I'll tell you, there were more than a couple of nights that I sat in my easy chair at 2:30 in the morning, writhing in agony from my MS pain, wishing for some kind of solution. I've always been a believer in the law of attraction, even before I knew what that was. And I remember thinking there had to be a better way. I hated giving myself an injection every day and not knowing what, if any, side effects the drug I was on would have on me long term. It was always unsettling to me. One day, a friend of mine showed me this article on the internet about this fellow who had progressive MS and through the use of Eastern medicine and acupuncture was able to slow down and reverse the effects of MS. Well, this caught my attention, and I started to ask friends I knew who were into Eastern medicine, was this a viable option? After many months of serious contemplation, I decided to give acupuncture a shot. Acupuncturists are like any doctor in that many have specialties. So I found one who specialized in autoimmune disorders like MS. We started the initial 6 treatments every day for 6 days. After those treatments, I really started to feel better. My balance improved. My pain was much less intense. My fatigue was better. I was doing really well. I also started to meditate daily for 20 minutes. This did a lot to calm my mind, and I think this is key. I found meditation quite by accident. A few years prior to getting MS, I learned transcendental meditation. I took a short class and at the conclusion received my mantra. Well, like anyone with a short attention span, after a while I just dropped the meditation. But the mantra stayed with me. So fast forward a few years and now I have full-blown MS with a nightly bout of extreme left thigh and arm pain. One night I was sitting in my easy chair. It was about 2 a.m. and I was reeling in pain. I started rocking in my chair in a desperate attempt to ease the pain. Well, out of nowhere, I started mentally chanting my TM mantra. And to my amazement, after about 5 minutes of doing this, the pain actually started to ease. After a few minutes more, I was actually able to go back to sleep. It was soon after this that I started Eastern medicine, I took control, and the changes really started to happen. Now I need to back up a little here. While I was still in my Western medicine phase, I came across what is known as healing touch. It's a very interesting procedure. You lie on a massage table while a healing touch practitioner very lightly places their hands on various parts of your body. They are channeling universal energy through them and then into you. You experience 60 minutes of total relaxation and bliss. It's a totally wonderful healing experience. Healing touch is used in many hospitals and hospices throughout the world. I highly recommend you give it a try. And then came the final piece in my healing puzzle. My acupuncturist introduced me to Ma Qigong. This is a 900-year-old Chinese healing exercise. The objective is to open up the various energy channels in your body and allow healing universal energy into you. So I went out and I learned this very simple form, practiced it daily, and saw very rapid and clearly defined results. My balance got even better. My fatigue eased off even more. I found I could start writing with my right hand again, something I was having a real problem with before. It just seemed everything was improving, getting better. So this gave me my introduction into alternative medicine. I found my acupuncturist and started for me what has turned out to be a twice-monthly treatment program. This, along with twice-monthly healing touch and every morning doing my Qigong exercises, has become the basis for my medical treatments for MS as well as all disease. There's one last thing I need to touch on, nutrition. Now, I'm no health food nut. I eat my share of double cheeseburgers, but that said, nothing aids recovery better than a balanced diet. We need to consume lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, fresh fish like salmon, and when you eat beef, choose grass-fed beef. Chicken is a good choice as well. The old saying is really true, you are what you eat. Food is fuel, and when healing from disease, you need to put the best fuel possible in your body. But at the same time, that occasional double cheeseburger or other fast food selection is okay in my opinion. Life is about having fun, and successful recovery requires a good deal of having fun and enjoying life. Just remember, do all things in moderation, and you'll be just fine. So after several years of doing this, I felt so good I started to seriously question the need for the drugs I was taking. Giving yourself a daily injection is never a fun thing, and I began to wonder, are the drugs effective anymore? I never broached this subject with my doctor since he thought Eastern medicine was for the birds. I knew my acupuncturist couldn't help either, other than to say, if you make the decision to wean off, do it slowly. So I did. I reduced 1 shot a week each year for 6 years. It took a while, but it was worth it. I'm drug-free now and feeling great. So I'm fully recovered now, right? Well, not yet. I still have a little ways to go. I look at it this way. It takes you years and years of bad behavior, mental as well as physical, to get yourself into this shape, so it stands to reason it will take some time to get you out of it. I'm still finding new ways to adapt my healing program to better affect my body. The key here is you have to adopt a mindset of perseverance and patience to reach your goals. Not one system works for everybody, so what I'm doing may not necessarily work for you. This is where the perseverance comes in. You need to find that exact system that works for you and stick with it. So we can't control our own health. Sure, it's important to seek assistance and guidance and find out what works best, but isn't that true with just about anything? So remember, you control everything. If you want to be sick, you will. But if you send out the intention of being well, both physically and mentally, you can achieve these goals. Just by putting out those thoughts on a daily basis, you will begin to change the scenarios of your life. Opportunities will start to appear. It's when you start to get those aha moments. So I highly recommend you seek this path to health and enlightenment. You really have nothing to lose, and in my opinion, a lifetime of health and happiness to gain.